على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن الله يأمركم أن تؤدوا الأمانات إلى أهلها وإذا حكمتم بين الناس أن تحكموا بالعدل إن الله نعم ما يعظكم به إن الله كان سميعا بصيرا يا أيها الذين آمنوا أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم فإن تنازعتم في شيء فردوه إلى الله والرسول إن كنتم تؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر ذلك خير وأحسن تأويلا صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Surah Nisa, ayah 58 and 59, the last two ayat of this ruku'. We've been doing the tafsir and translation of these ayat for the past 2 days. Finally, to conclude the discussion, there is one fine point that is mentioned by ulama and mufassirin, which is Ijtihad and Qiyas. That what is Ijtihad, what is Qiyas, and how does this ayah provide a proof for both of these things. So the first thing that should be understood is the definition of Ijtihad and Qiyas. Ijtihad is when something is not found clearly in the Quran and Hadith, then a qualified scholar who is qualified to do Ijtihad, and we'll talk about those because this ayah presents those qualities, but they are kind of hidden. They dive into the knowledge of the Quran and Hadith and extract the mas'ala or the ruling of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants or the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam wants out of that science of Quran and Hadith. Qiyas is when something is not directly found in the Quran and Hadith, but a very similar thing is presented in terms of mamnu'at, in terms of and all things apart from faraiz. Qiyas can be done about all things apart from faraiz. If such a thing is found in present day or in any time after the demise of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then the ulama, the qualified mujtahid, can again dive into the Quran and Hadith and find a thing which is analogically comparative, which is just like that one, the thing that is presented. For example, drugs can be compared to the ruling of alcohol because they create more or less the same effect, which is that a person loses their capacity to differ right from wrong. So this is Qiyas. Now if we combine the three key rulings presented in these two ayat, number one is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands you to return the amanat, the trusts, to the people who are qualified for it, number one. Number two, Allah asks you to, commands you to obey Allah, His Rasul, and the people of knowledge. The third thing is that فَإِن تَنَازَعْتُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ, if you have a confusion or an argument about something, then go back to return the thing back to the Quran and Sunnah. So the first thing that we highlighted that day when we were doing ayat number 58 was that amanat is not only financial things, right? Somebody has given somebody some money or some property or whatever, some asset, but amanat includes trusts of all sorts. So somebody is trusted with a position in the government, somebody is trusted with giving a ruling based on the Quran and Hadith, commanding people towards the right thing. That is also an amanat, and that amanat has to be returned to the person who is qualified for it. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying very clearly, Inna Allah ya'murukum an tu'addul amanat ila ahliha. Those people who are capable and qualified, return the trusts to them, over to them. So the trust of finding the true meaning of Quran and Hadith and to extract the true ruling from the Quran and Hadith should be deputed over to the people who are actually qualified for it. The people who are actually qualified for it, which is absolutely only the ulama. وَإِذَا حَكَمْتُمْ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ أَن تَحْكُمُوا بِالْعَدْلِ. If you look at this ayah in this perspective, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing the people who are doing ijtihad, the people who are diving into the knowledge of Quran and Hadith. وَإِذَا حَكَمْتُمْ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ أَن تَحْكُمُوا بِالْعَدْلِ. When you find that ruling, when you extract that ruling, when you make a religious decision or give a fatwa based on the Quran and Hadith, أن تحكموا بين الناس أن تحكموا بالعدل. Do it with adl, do it with justice, do it with full honesty, and do it with yourself being very, very qualified. So if you are not qualified, you should again act on the first part, which is return the trust to the one who is ahl. So everybody going around in the streets cannot give fatwa, cannot read one hadith and say, this is the hadith, this is the ruling, I'm going to tell the world that this is the ruling. No. If you do not have an overarching, all-encompassing knowledge of the Quran and hadith, you are not qualified to give any fatwa. In fact, a layman, a common person who is not ahl of this amana, who is not qualified to bear the weight of this trust, should not even move their tongue even in very simple matters of deen. They should ask people to go to the ulama, consult the ulama, because they are the ahl of that amana. They are the ones who are qualified to bear that trust. Then, in the next ayah, ayah 59 that we did yesterday, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, Ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasul, obey Allah and obey the Rasul. فَإِن تَنَازَعْتُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ. This is the other extreme. So, there is some people who would say that there is nothing like ijtihad, there is nothing like qiyas, everything is the Quran and the hadith only. As we explained yesterday, ijtihad and qiyas are also based on the Quran and hadith, and if you totally take them out of your sources of deen, ijtihad and qiyas done by qualified ulama, then there is so many things that you will not be able to find the rulings of in the Quran and hadith alone. A very easy to understand example I just gave about drugs. There is no discussion about drugs in the Quran or the hadith. In fact, if you just restrict it to the Quran, the complete method of salah even is not found in the Quran. So anyway, there's so many things. But anyway, so there's one extreme that they say ijtihad and qiyas are nothing. There's other extreme which says ijtihad and qiyas should practically be done in everything. For example, you must have heard this in your life too, ulama of this time should do an ijtihad that interest-based financing should somehow become permissible. They should do ijtihad. Or one example that I heard from my own ears, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, here in the United States on the west coast, there is a masjid that is praying Isha right after Maghrib because they have done ijtihad that Isha is too late, that people have to go to work. So their ulama have made ijtihad that Isha can be made right after Maghrib. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, فَإِن تَنَازَعْتُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ. If there is an argument about something, when something is clearly present in the Quran and Hadith, and the knowledge of Sahaba and the science of the Quran and Hadith has agreed upon some ruling, then there is no tanazi'ah, there is no argument. This gives us the very important condition of ijtihad, that ijtihad can be made only when there is no clear ruling found in the Quran or Hadith. Okay? That is the venue to perform ijtihad. Not like, I like something, this seems much more practical in today's world, so push the ulama to make ijtihad. The people who are pushing the ulama to make that ijtihad are juhala, are ignorant people. And the ulama who are pushed by these things to make ijtihad, they do not fulfill the quality of a mujtahid, which is that they only dive into the Quran and Hadith for making ijtihad when there is a need. In matters that are already settled, there is no need. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you from all these things. فَرُدُّوهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَالرَّسُولِ. When there is tanaza'ah, when there is argument, then dive back into the Quran and Hadith, and the ruling has to be again based on the Quran and Hadith alone. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant understanding. We talked about the story of Sayyidina Usman ibn Talha. He had brought faith later on. Well, I don't know if I mentioned it that day or not, but it doesn't feel appropriate that we mentioned his life of kufr or a few stories of his kufr, but he had brought faith, so we should mention that as well. He was a Sahabi, he became a Sahabi at the time of the conquest of Makkah. So the Prophet ﷺ, as he was returning the keys, he was not returning the keys of the Kaaba to a kafir, but he was returning it to a Muslim. He brought faith at that time. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, As-salatu was-salamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen. Rabbana zalamna anfusana wa lam taghfir lana wa tarhamna lanakunanna minal khasirin. Rabbi ighfir warham wa anta khairur rahimin. La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inna kunna minadh dhalimin. Sallallahu ta'ala ala khairi khalqihi Sayyidina wa lana Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ameen bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin.